the end of the half. I think that's the moment where it's like, sorry, 49ers, not tonight. The rest of it's just details.
Yeah, well,
how we get there is to be determined. But after that run, here we are, 3rd and 16. When a defense like the 49ers should put the clamps on any offense, and he does this, that's when you know that it's just not the night you thought it was going to be for the 49ers.
Well, that's why you can't look at stats when you look at Lamar Jackson, right? We've talked about this on Football Night in America. His effect on the football game goes way beyond the stat sheet. And then it's, of course, the key moments that he makes a lot of this happen. It's a 3rd and 16, like you're saying. The game's in the balance. The perfect defense is called. The people are covered downfield. You know, they got people around them in the pocket. Oh, it doesn't matter that the perfect defense was called and we have the most well-built defense in football. That's where Lamar Jackson comes into play. And that's where he came into play a few times throughout the night last night, where you're going to look at his stats and go, they're good, they're not great. But the reality is, and if you go back and watch a lot of Ravens games, it's like the 5 biggest plays of the game, Lamar always wins. And it's because of a great throw or fading in the pocket or buying time to make a great throw or to scramble. And that's why he will now be at the top of the MVP conversation. But, Mike, I mean, again, going back to what you were talking about with the safety, all of that. I mean, it's the 49ers march down the field and right down the field. You go, whoa, this looks like the machine we're used to seeing. Throw an interception in the end zone. Get the safety. Drive down. Ravens do a great job of holding the 49ers to a field goal just so it's 5-0. Just to hang in there. Like we were talking about, right? They were a little wobbly. And they found the flow of the football game. And, yeah, like you said, Lamar made so many big plays. You know, that play there. And then, of course, the swing of points early in the third quarter, not only with the drive, but the scrambling out of the backfield, finding Gus Edwards underneath to set up the score that would put them up 23-12, and then of course they get the turnover to go up 30-12. That was like such a shocking, fast, oh my gosh moment. Here we are, buying time, right? Finds Gus Edwards out of the backfield, and this was like, oh wow, whoa, they're gonna go up maybe 2 scores here. I mean, this is unbelievable. And, of course, they go up 2 scores. Lamar gets the touchdown. He's making magic again. Another big moment where he just comes through. And then, of course, they get the turnover the next drive. Boom, right, first play, strike, touchdown. And that's when you felt like, man, it was really all she had wrote. And the Ravens were flying high at that point.
One of the things about Lamar Jackson, and you and I both have MVP votes. They don't want us to tip our votes. We're not supposed to say who our votes are, but we're allowed to say. I had the conversation with the AP to make sure that I understood what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. If we were voting now, here's who we'd vote for. And right now, it's clearly Lamar. That's the one great thing to come out of last night. We can end with this whole polite society club where Christian McCaffrey says vote for Purdy and Purdy says vote for McCaffrey, and you got all these guys chiming in about everyone but themselves. You've got 2 very viable candidates and 2 others that weren't getting the attention they should, like Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel. That's done now. That's over. Now, maybe McCaffrey can make a late run at it, but I don't think so. Right now, if we're casting the ballots right now, it's clearly Lamar. Clearly Lamar, and the odds are backing us up in that regard. The only candidate in negative territory with Christian McCaffrey at plus 400, 4-1. Tua Tagovailoa 10-1. Purdy's all the way down to 12-1. There's Josh Allen, still a good value at 16-1, and Dak Prescott 20-1. I think that graphic shows everyone who's in it now. Although there is one name missing off that graphic. And he came back and had 9 catches for 99 yards.
Right.
And if the Dolphins beat the Ravens on Sunday, then it becomes then there goes the which guy from the 49ers is the MVP. If the Dolphins should happen to wander into the stadium in Baltimore and win on Sunday, and I ain't gonna say the Ravens are gonna kick it. No. But if the Dolphins do it, then it's Tua for a lot of people. But Tyreek, I'm still surprised that more people haven't kind of recognized this notion that Tyreek proved his value in his absence. right?
I mean, I know, but it's just we're
he's
so
still got a chance to get to 2,000, but I don't think he's going to. But he's proved his value in his absence. The offense is clearly more dependent on him than Tua Tagovailoa, but Tagovailoa is a quarterback, and there's a lot of people that love him as a guy, and he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's likable. There's nothing about him not to like, and he's fun to root for. They crapped all over him with the prior regime, and it's a great story of redemption. But if there's only one MVP and Hill is more valuable than Tua to that team, how does that not make him more valuable to the league as well?
Yeah, I just feel like it's a subject that's been beaten into our brain of what we've discussed so many times. Just quarterback on the number 1 seed or one of the top 2 seeds in the playoff race. That just automatically gets it. And nobody's thinks outside of the box when it comes to that conversation there. So, it's going to be, we're still two weeks left. We'll see. Lamar definitely in the leader house, as a wise man once said. But you're crazy to think wait, if Tua and Tyreek go off this week in Baltimore and then maybe go off the next week against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills and they're the number 1 seed and they put out huge numbers, well, we might be showing a graphic from DraftKings that, has a different set of numbers next to those names when it's all said and done. So let's see where that does go. But I do think, to your point, it kind of last night, no matter what, definitely canceled out Purdy. McCaffrey had a good night statistically, but would have to do something miraculous, I feel like, to catch up to Lamar or maybe the other guys that we mentioned. But we'll see where it goes. Phenomenal win by the Ravens. We haven't seen anybody bully the 49ers. We haven't. And they're big, their size up front, right? Their physicality on their D line, I think, allowed them some luxuries of doing some things with their guys in the back end a little bit because they are big and they felt like they could overpower the 49ers in certain positions there. And then, Mike, we talk about this so much too. When you play a great offense like the Dolphins or the 49ers, you can't just sit back and go, we're going to play normal defense and we'll be sound, and that'll stop Kyle Shanahan and his 9,000 weapons. If you just do that, Shanahan's going to pick you apart. He'll crack the code eventually. But I get into some of the turnovers, especially the first one of the game. When Brock Purdy throws, he's going to run the ball left. They bring the corner blitz. So now he's been taught, wait, if they bring somebody off the edge, let me try to throw the ball to Deebo Samuel, who's going to have a safety way off of him down the field a little bit. And it's those tactical plays and, what do I want to say, risk-reward gambles that you got to take when you play with some of these teams. Here's the first interception. This is egregious. I don't know what Brock Purdy can look at. Here's the corner blitz. This is what I mean. You got to do some things that are outside the book. If you think you're going to play at status quo against that team, you're absolutely not. You're absolutely wrong. And then they got the creativity to dial up some things that can confuse a Purdy, confuse a Shanahan. Here, nobody's open. They're passing off all their covered, all the guys in their zone coverages. And they just started making plays everywhere throughout the game, the field, everything. It was like sharks. They smelled blood in the water, and they were all over the 49ers.
That interception by Kyle Hamilton, we're watching the play now. He was mauled. He was chop blocked. Yeah. If we can show that play again, he was on the ground, got up, and got in position to catch the ball after it was tipped. He's on the ground. He's the one that drew the 15-yard flag that got added after the run because it was a personal foul.
Yeah,
the chop block. Right. And he's down there. Here he comes. Watch him there, and he's laying on top of him.
Yeah. Now
there's
he's
the
like,
flag
wait, let me get
right
involved.
at him.
Let me see if I can help out. Oh, the ball pops in the air. Look at what I got here. Interception, and second interception of the game early on. And, of course, that. And then here we go. Big Jones from Connecticut. He makes the big hit on Brock Purdy as he's throwing the football. That gets the interception there. The Ravens, they brought it to the 49ers, and the 49ers had a hard time getting in a groove or a rhythm. And, of course, Purdy with some of the mistakes and then turning the ball over like that, I do think it got in his head. He got a little gun shy. He wasn't sure of himself. It was one of the first times I feel like we've seen him like that, really probably since the Cleveland game.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.